Welcome to the DL. This is the show where we talk about everything in the truck and equipment repair industry. It's my job to help inform and educate you on ways to help your business. We talk with technicians, business owners, associations, industry experts, manufacturers, and even a few you wouldn't think traditionally apply to your business. Welcome to another episode of the DL. I'm your host, Tyler Robertson. This is the podcast show where I get to talk about pretty much anything I want, but I get to really talk about something I'm excited about. I get excited about two things, truck repair and entrepreneurship.
Amen.
If I can put those two together, I'm going to do it.
We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, so in the studio today, I got Mr. Bill Black here with National Fleet Management. Welcome.
Yep, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm thankful and grateful to be here.
Well, I love having people here in person now again. So this is much better. And this is going to be a great show because I was a service manager before. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Very similar things.
We have a similar upbringing too.
Yeah, a lot of similarity stuff going on here. So this is going to be fun. But first, why don't we just explain, what is your company today? Where are you at today? So let's set the scale a little bit for that first.
So National Fleet Management, we're in we have three shops in North Carolina, Greensboro, Charlotte, and Raleigh-Durham area. And we have a parts business, heavy-duty truck supply in Wilson. We have about 70 team members, and I think we have 12 mobile trucks right now.
Okay. So I'm guessing you didn't start with all this. You started somewhere else, right? So it's really odd. I always say people don't intentionally get into this business at all, right? They kind of just find it and it's in their blood. So what's your story? How did you get in it?
So there's a story before the story that I'll start with. So when I took a job at a dealership, when they hired me, they had just a piece of land. It was an open AOR. You're a dealership guy, so open
area
AOR.
Responsibility.
Yep. It was open for 10 years. So what does that mean? That means you had no customers, no technicians, no parts people, no salespeople. Yep. You were starting from scratch. So when we opened it, we really focused on parts and service. Like, all right, we're going to get truck sales eventually, but let's focus on parts and service. So within 18 months, we had 15 technicians. We're running 2 shifts Monday through Friday, 1 shift on Saturday. And some Saturday shifts, we'd have both shifts there working. We had so much work. But we focused on quality and professionalism. And when you'd walk in the shop, we were a Volvo dealer. There wouldn't be any Volvo trucks because it was an open AOR.
Yeah, there's
we're
no
working
customers
on
having there.
Nobody. Yep. Yeah, we were working on Freightliners, Peterbilts, Kenworths, a lot of internationals. And I was like, man, what's going on? What are we doing? How are we so successful here? What is happening? And I thinking about it, it's like, well, we were professional, we were technical. We could do the technical work, or we could change a mud flap or change a headlight. We could do anything. But we were professional, and we did work in a timely manner. We had a good system in place, we had good people, and we just worked hard and had fun. So that when I thought about that, I was like, man, this would be a great idea to go anywhere. We don't have to have a Volvo sign.
Yeah, that Volvo dealership sign wasn't bringing in those customers, right?
No. Eventually, we started selling trucks. I'd tell you, it's like, hey, Kyle, it'd be easier for me to work on your international if it was a Volvo. But, so we started to work that in through the years. But I stayed there about 10 years. And there became an opportunity to maybe become part owner and work with those guys. But I always had this itch, I think this is something. I think we can really do something with this. And when you look at the trucking industry, we're kind of where the cars were about 20 years ago with OBD1 when it came out. And the OEs had to release the information. And now you can go to a car shop, scan the car with your Snap-on tool, buy the part, buy the ECM from Napa, put it in a car, program it with your Snap-on tool. Guess what? It starts, it goes, you can put a warranty on it. Yep. And I've seen that's where the trucks are going. We're always about 20 years behind the car guys.
Totally agree. Yep.
Yeah, we're always I'm thinking now when you go to these automobile places, they look professional, they got the technical ability, they got the processes in place. The only thing you do, you can't buy a car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's where I think the trucking industry is going to go, and that's where National Fleet, that's where the idea came to my mind is like, hey, let's do this, and let's just not take 20 years to do it because we've seen how the car guys do it. Let's do it, and let's do it, a little bit more expedient. So
you were more on the management side then, working for the other dealership?
Yeah, so I started as a technician. I was in the Marine Corps. I'll go back to the beginning. I grew up in a small shop, welding repair shop in Buffalo. My dad, as soon as I was old enough to walk, I was working. Got my work ethic from my mom, my dad. And then after I got out of high school, I was like, man, I'm going into the Marine Corps and, different reasons and go in there, and they made me a mechanic. I'm like, what the heck? I went in open contract. I figured I was going to be a rifleman or something.
Yeah.
I was like,
here's a wrench.
Yeah, here's a wrench. You can start fixing stuff. I was like, I've been doing that my whole life.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this must be what I'm supposed to do. So when I got out, started with a fleet, then went to a dealership, then worked as a foreman, then a service manager, and then eventually a operations manager over parts and service. Opened a couple branches for a small dealer group. At one time, I think we had 5, a couple captive shops, and then a couple of our dealerships, and then an independent repair shop that we opened, because the dealer principals seen the value in it as well. So we started doing some other things. And then when that opportunity came, but we still had an AOR, he couldn't. And John's a great guy. I learned tons there. It was some of the best experience I ever had. He wasn't as aggressive as I wanted to be, and he was in his upper ages, so this wasn't what he wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I think this is what I'm gonna do.
I feel the same way. I worked for a dealership, ironically, for about 10 years, and it was the same thing. Yeah, same thing. He was approaching retirement age and trying to get his family in there and trying to do things, but he had opportunities. He's like, no, too expensive. And then all of a sudden, Rush Truck Center's buying dealerships around, the big
Writings
guys
on the wall.
So. Anyhow, very similar thing, 10 years. So you're there though. Mm-hmm. So, and then did you get investors? You just go do your own, save up money, you just went and did your own thing and scrimped and made it by? How did you get started? Because I think a lot of people listening are always like, well, how'd you make that leap, right? Because you go from getting a paycheck every week or two, and if you got kids and family and insurance and 401ks to, I'm going to go do my own thing. It's a big leap.
Yeah, so my story is probably a little bit different because a lot of the guys go from technician to business person.
Yep.
And my experience is a lot different because when I was at the dealership, I was able to learn a lot. They gave me a lot of autonomy, but they also taught me a lot about the accounting, the sales, cash flow, things that are very important when you're going to do this. So when I decided that, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I actually used a franchise to get started because I was going to start it while I was still working at the dealership. Okay. So I told the dealer principal, hey, this is what I'm doing.
I'm making a competitor.
Yeah, I'm not going to be a competitor because you have an AOR. I did a franchise that was an AOR outside of the AOR. And I just, and I tell our sales guys and our service supervisor, Bill Black does not own this business. You don't know anything about Bill Black.
Yeah.
And it is National Fleet Management, so it had nothing to do with Bill. But hey, go see Tyler. These other questions asked. This is how we can help him.
Yep.
And this is probably going to be some of his rebuttals, but this is how we can overcome those and do a good job for him, bring him good service. And then, it got to a point that I needed to make a decision. Okay, am I going to, go or not go? And it was hard because great job, benefits, 401k, all that stuff. And, thank God for my wife because she was tough. When you start, first 7 months, I had people ask me, how was it? That's great. You're your own boss. You make all this money. I was like, yeah, we didn't take any money for 7 months.
Yeah.
And I was working 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, similar thing here. And I think we both can say we got 10 years of paid training essentially to do what you did.
Yeah.
And I tell people that every day. It's, hey, there's no way I could have done diesel laptops without that experience because I had to be a service manager, I had to be a parts manager, I did the IT, I did the marketing, and before that I did accounting at a dealership. I was a service writer, I was a parts guy, I sold trucks. Like you put all those together, and all of a sudden you're like, man, I got a really really niche background here that I could monetize in some way, and
absolutely.
It takes a little bit of time to find that path, and it took you a while, it took me a while as well,
and I'm still figuring it out.
Hey, we're going to talk about that in a second too, right? So that's the cool thing. So how long were you doing the franchise thing while you were still working there, or was it a pretty quick thing once it got going? You just decided to go?
It was pretty slow, and because I really, if anything, I neglected the business to make sure that I was giving the dealer that I was paying me for.
It's hard to do them both 100%.
It's really it was really difficult, and my heart was here, but all my effort and everything was here. My wife was running the business. She knew nothing about it, so she'd bring work orders home, and then I would do them at night and
trying to explain what cores are and all these things.
The 3 C's, and she's like, 3 C's. What are you talking about? There's only one C.
You're like, no, cosmically correct. Let's get this right.
Yeah. So it came to a point, and the dealer principal, he knew too. He's like, you need to make a decision. What are you going to do? And I was like, all right. And then, my faith's pretty important to who I am. So I prayed and prayed. I said, listen, if this is what I'm supposed to do, you make it clear to me, because if I do what I want to do, I'm going to screw it up. Yeah. So it was clear, and it was December 1st, in 1999 or 2009. Yeah, 2009. Okay. Yeah. And that was it. It was game on. And
so here we are, about 12 years later, right? So you had one location.
Yeah,
things must have been going pretty well for you to be able to do a second location and kind of keep scaling up here.
Yeah, so we started in Statesville, again, because of the AOR. It was far enough away that it didn't. So my focus was always, or my plans were always, I was never going to renew the franchise, because I wanted to go wherever I wanted to go. Yeah. So it was 1,500 square foot, a flex space. It had 12-foot doors. I couldn't even get a truck in there. Most of the stuff we were doing was mobile.
Yeah.
So then we moved down the Concord, and we were outgrowing our facilities every year and having to move. And we had a couple opportunities for some acquisitions, small acquisitions. And then our second branch was in Winston. And then one of the acquisitions brought us to Greensboro, as a better area, better facility. And Durham came on board probably about 5 or 6 years into it. We started mobile. We try to go in mobile first, build up some business, and then go in there with a shop. And one of the challenges is just finding facilities now. I mean, you need 14-foot doors. You need a freestanding ceiling. I don't like beams in the middle of the shop, because somebody's going to run into it.
We get the same things trying to put training centers up across the United. You need a certain thing, and there's not a lot of those out there.
There's not a lot of them to choose from. No, we've had an architect, and we've worked on some plans, like a prototype. This is the ideal dealership I call it a dealership now, a branch that we'd want to have, and what it would look like. But building stuff right now it's expensive. Real estate's expensive.
Yeah, it's tough everywhere. So I think I remember years ago, right? I'm like reading a book. I don't know, it was like about Papa John's or Pizza Hut or something. Like, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, there are a million pizza places out there. Why do some of them get to be these huge, big companies that just open up thousands of stores and can grow fast? I look at truck repair the same way. Yeah. You see, you have tens of thousands of competitors. Well, maybe not because you're more regionalized, but there's plenty of competitors out there. But you've been able to grow your business.
Yep.
So I know we talked a little bit off the air. There's a couple of real keys to success in your business that you feel that's important, and I'd love for you to kind of talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, the 3 keys that we have it's our workflow process, our daily game plan, and treating every transaction as though it was a cash transaction. So the 3 things that hit on the workflow process, it just gives the customer a standard process, the same experience at every branch. Doesn't matter what it is, and it gives the technician, the service advisor, everybody knows this is how we do. It's the same every time. We go out and we write the truck up, we get the mileage, we do it, we walk out there and do it, and actually look at the truck. Well, the truck was just here yesterday. We still go out there and look at it. There may be something happened. Maybe somebody ran into it. Things that you need to take note of. And then the daily game plan is probably the most important part. That's when every technician, when they come in, they need to have their day laid out for them. These guys they're production. That's what they're called, production guys. So what do you expect of me today, Bill? Well, here, I'd like you to fix these 3 trucks today, and I'm going to do everything I can, Tyler, to support you with that and give you your parts, make sure you got your authorization. Because my job then as a service manager or branch manager, it changes from I'm out there trying to crack the whip to get you to work. It's like, hey, what can I do to help you to get it done? Hey, this is what our expectations are for today, and let's work together and get it done. And then if the whole team, your parts guy, your service advisor, everybody knows what the expectations are for the day, you know what winning looks like.
Yeah.
If you just come in and you're waiting for the phone to ring, or you're being reactive all day, well, what does winning look like? Well, I worked hard today.
Yeah.
Well, everybody worked hard today.
Well, I've been in shops before where those technicians have no idea what their next job is or when that job should be done, right? They're just kind of going through the motions, and you got a service writer in the middle that could be getting hammered by the customer, and the customer's pissed off, the driver's in a hotel room, and just no one's talking. And that's a big part of it, is just having that communication.
Yeah. Everybody's frustrated with everybody because nobody's talking, and all the information is within a hand's reach. And I'll tell you the story how the daily game plan. I was a service manager, and business is great, and give everybody their job in the morning, and then Tyler comes in and he's, you need a job, you're done, right? And you've taken your time. You've washed up, you've done this, you picked your tools up, put them all away, and they're going to be the same tools you're going to need on the next job. So many inefficiencies there. And then I'm on the phone. So I got all this work standing over here for you to do and for all the other guys to do. And hang on, Tyler, I'll be right with you. Well, 3 seconds later, you're frustrated. You're going to go smoke a cigarette. You're going to go talk to Bill. You're going to go talk to this technician. And I'm standing there listening to a customer. I got smoke coming out of my ears because I'm pissed at you because, you're screwing off. And I'm like, no, it's my fault. I created this situation. So the next day I came in, every technician, they got 3 or 4 jobs. They got a little note on the top. These are your priorities, 1, 2, and 3. This customer he's going to pick this truck up today. So if there's a problem, it's not going to be ready today. I need to know as soon as you know. And you just do a little morning huddle, set everybody's expectations. Sometimes you could do it as a group. It could be a training time. Hey, man, I ran into this yesterday. Does anybody have any feedback? Yeah, I did the same thing 2 weeks ago. This is what's wrong with it. Okay, did everybody hear that? So everybody's learning. There's constant training going on. And then debrief at the end of the day, hey, how'd it go? What did we do right? What did we do wrong? What could we do better tomorrow? I feel like our competition, our only competition is ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to beat what we did yesterday.
Yeah. So I remember I was talking to Keith Ely. He owns a company. They do consulting for heavy truck OEM dealerships, right? And they got all kinds of just experienced, knowledgeable people inside their group.
Sure.
But I had him on a podcast, and I've heard him talk about this as well, and it goes right into what you're saying. So one of his service guys, he makes a bet with the owner. He goes, "Look, I will bet you a nice bottle. I think it's like a bottle of scotch or something, right? Like,
nice.
I bet if I go out in that shop and less than 50% of your technicians are actually or more than 50% are actually touching a truck and working on one, I will buy you that nice bottle."
That's
right?
funny.
This is He goes, he hasn't lost a bet yet, right? Because every time he goes out there with the owner, they're doing what you're doing. They're standing at the parts counter, they're at the toolbox, doing something on their phone. They're talking to the service writer.
Yeah, and it's not their fault.
Yeah, it's not their fault. It's never their fault. It's always the management's fault. And it goes back to what you said, the workflow.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's try to figure out a better workflow for these things. I mean, and they get really scientific, right? I mean, they got guys with their stopwatches, like
do spaghetti charts.
Oh yeah, and they're like, well, how many minutes did that guy spend walking back and forth to the parts counter? And some of those shops are 30 bays long. It's a haul to go there, stand in line, get back, and you do things like that a bunch of times every day. It gets ridiculous really quick inside an organization.
You multiply that if it's a half hour a day per technician, you got 50 technicians. Dude, that's 25 hours.
Yeah.
At $150 an hour. 85 cents on the dollar for parts. I mean, that's easy math.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a ton of, you have the whole productivity side, how often you collect on jobs, and then when you're on a job, how efficient are you at it? And I know a lot of managers look at those numbers on paper and just go, oh, okay, you're good or you're bad. At the end of the day, those technicians usually have a little impact on that. It's usually more on the management side of things, and a lot of business owners, I don't think, realize it to that point. And it's a real eye-opener once you get in there and see those things.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and we'll hit on the technician shortage. I don't really believe that there's a technician shortage. I think there's an efficiency and leadership shortage.
Yeah.
We talked about some of the dealerships that I've worked at or that I've interviewed service managers. For them to get a bonus, hey, you're doing a great job. Their productivity and their efficiencies hover around 85, 80, 90 to 95%. Well, when you do the math on an 8-hour day, that's okay. All they need to do is bill 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's like in the automobile industry, those guys are billing 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day, because they're just being more efficient. They have their work laid out for them every day. And that's I think, if we focus more on efficiency and leadership in the shops, I think we'd be a lot better off.
So, I mean, we're sitting here talking about efficiency and productivity and proficiency and all these things, right? Because we've been around dealerships and we've seen how they operate. Like, we're gonna do those things they do. They know. Yeah. How many small business owners out there do you think, the guy that has one shop or he's got a maintenance mobile truck or two, do they even keep track of these things in your opinion, or is it usually just flying by the seat of their pants, putting out fires all day long? What do you see when you talk to the people or engage with other companies?
So I don't, I really can't speak because I don't talk to those guys a whole bunch. I'm so focused on what we're doing. Yeah. I think some of them do. I think some of them really get it, and you can tell because they're running a business that's very organized, very structured. I think a lot of the independent guys that get into it because they love what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it too. I love doing this. People say, well, what's your perfect job? I was like, I have it.
Yeah.
This is it. fixing trucks and being an entrepreneur. This is what I love to do. And I think most of those guys, that's not their focus, isn't the efficiency, all that other stuff. It's like they love their customers. They do a great job taking care of their customers. They take care of their technicians typically. The problem is that those guys aren't scalable. If that guy, I hate to use the hit the bus thing because it's kind of morbid. If the guy hits the lottery, let's say he hits the lottery, he's not going to be fixing trucks anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Say he hits the lottery, then you've got those customers that he does a great job. He loves them and does great work for them, but then they're left with nothing.
Yeah.
Or if something does happen to them, nothing. What is he going to do?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too is these guys, like you said, they were diesel technicians, and they decided, hey, I'm going to go. My toolbox has wheels. I'm going to hang my own shingle and do their own thing, and they can be pretty successful.
Very successful. Yeah.
But they got to learn it's a business, right? And they got to learn those things, and that's an entirely different skill set that oftentimes is different. So me and you coming in having that that skill set and experience, it's a huge advantage trying to do your own business.
Yeah.
So I honestly have no idea. You see these 20-year-old entrepreneurs, I have no idea how you guys do this, because I didn't know anything at that age. I would have been a disaster. Maybe that's the way some of those go. But you mentioned three. So you said there's three main differences. We had workflow, we had the daily game plan, and then there's a third one.
Yeah, and then it's treating every transaction as cash. So again, we had a sidebar conversation at the dealership. All you dealership guys out there are gonna love this one. Most of our work was on charge or warranty work.
Yep.
Well, every once in a while, we'd get a wave of cash customers come in. So if a cash customer comes in, you got to turn your core in. You got to have your 3 C's. You have to have everything documented. You got to have your punch times. You got to have everything done to hand the customer an invoice, and it has to be correct. It has to look professional. Then you have to collect the money, and that's a nightmare. It's like a Chinese fire drill. Nobody knows how to do that because we usually just let things stack up till the end of the month or until payroll day. And we had one day at the dealership, 10 cash customers. Everything was cash. And it's like, what the heck is going on? We just look stupid.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were doing. And so we made a conscious decision. Let's treat everything as cash. If it's a charge customer that requires a PO, let's have the bill ready when the truck's ready and then ask for a PO so we can close it right now.
Yep.
And if it's a warranty, let's have our part tag. Let's have all our 3 C's. Let's have all our documentation, all our backup. Now, that's changed a lot now. I've been out of the dealership world for 12 years. I know there's a lot of documentation. Yeah. Let's have all that ready so when the warranty clerk gets it, all she has to do or he has to do is data entry because everything's taken care of. So and then what are some of the benefits of that? If you're a flat rate shop, your technician time's posted, it's done. Yep. You don't have to worry about payroll day, it's done. If you are a small business, cash is king. You need cash to run your business. So if you have a customer that doesn't pay you from 30 days when they get their invoice and you take 20 days to send them the invoice, now you're at 50 days.
Yep.
So you start shortening that window to immediacy. So, and then last day of the month or payroll day, it's just another day. I leave at 5 o'clock. I left at the dealership at the last day of the month. I left at 5 o'clock. I knew what my numbers were going to be a week prior. I left at 5 o'clock.
Yeah. So I came into a dealership. I'd worked for somebody else, came into the new place, right? And I was right away, I was like, we're just doing the same thing. These things are getting closed every day. That was first morning, I'd be like, what did night shift have? We were like, close. Yep. File warranty claims. Let's not have this huge rush at the end of the month. So I remember very first month I'm there. And previous, it's typical, right? End of the month, everyone's there till 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Closing.
Bragging. Yeah. Last day of the month, baby. I'm going to be home late tonight.
Yeah. I was going to say it's a pride almost or something.
Yeah, because I didn't do my job all month. Now I got to cram it in.
Yeah. So I remember I was like, it was 4:30, and I'm like, well, last day of the month. I'm like, everything's done. I'm like, we're out of here. I knew my numbers, and the general manager came there, and he's like, oh, so you got a long night tonight. I'm like, we're leaving. We're done. He's like, no, all the RO, everything's got to get closed. And we're like, they are closed. Here's the number. Here's what'll be in the morning when everything posts. And he's like, son of a gun. He goes, okay, yeah. And the employees appreciated it. And it was just
stress level comes down.
And you know what happened? Profitability went up, right? Because also we weren't leaving things on the table. Things were just getting handled. All those misplaced cores and things were getting tagged properly. Yeah. And POs were getting done. And
your memory's a lot fresher.
Yeah.
When it's right now rather than 2 weeks ago. And, I got to close it. Well, I know Tyler, if I just knock $50 off the bill, he'll be happy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and you feel bad calling someone like, "Oh, I gotta wrap this PO up from 3 weeks ago," and you're just like, you just know you're not getting all your money out of them, right? It's just a different situation. So
yeah, well, you overhauled that thing 20 days ago, and I got a headlight out a week later in Texas.
It's your fault.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
It's like you got no leverage. You've got, it's
Yeah.
like, what are you gonna do?
But I think what all this comes down to is the fact that you're really deliberate on your business.
Yeah.
You're really, hey, we're gonna put processes in place. Like you said, that one person leaves, they hit the lottery or quit or whatever it is. People know what the process is, and they can pick it up and they can go a lot more simple. And then cash flow, like you said, that's a huge problem for most companies, even most small businesses, is they just don't have enough cash.
Yeah.
And I know when I started Diesel Laptops, I was like, I swear to God, I'm never going to carry any inventory more than I have to. I'm never going to have any AR. It's going to be cash. Credit, people want to like buy credit card on the spot. And you wake up one day and you got $2.5 million in receivables. You're like, son of a gun.
What happened?
What happened here? And and
it sneaks up on you.
I made the mistake, and even though I knew better, but I was like, I'm going to go sell, and market, and we'll worry about this other stuff, and it all catches up to you. So it's hard to scale a business though. At the end of the day, it's very tough
without cash. And we've grown. I mean, we'll do probably between 13 and 15 million this year, and we've done it with virtually no debt. But it's from managing your cash. And our AR, we've got an AR person. She does a fantastic job. Our DSO is like 19 days, which any dealership would give their left arm. 19 days.
Yeah,
it's like well, that's how you got to close it. And that there's
if you close them right away, it's much quicker to get paid. Yeah.
Much quicker, And when you look at their DSO, it's probably larger, and they still haven't. They got a 20-day front end because they didn't even close it. And it's like, man, it all steamrolls. And the thing about those mass closings at the end of the month and all that, you're going to do the work anyway.
Yeah.
You just do a crappy job at the end of the month.
You rush it.
Yep. It's when I was in the service department, our team, I mean, there was never nothing to do. I didn't have time to shoot the crap with you about the football game or anything like that. It's like, hey, what are the guys? What's his next job? Okay, what's he going to need? Does he have his parts? Okay, does this customer need to be called? Does this ticket need to be closed? Do I need a PO? There's always something to do in a service department. Yeah.
So what's the future for you guys? Do you guys have a strategic plan or goal? Like where do you want to get to?
Yeah. So the next 10 years, our plan is again 495 technicians. That's going to bring us to about 23 locations. It'll be very opportunistic. We really want to focus on North Carolina, but like we have an opportunity currently in South Carolina. That's not too far out of that bandwidth.
I know where it is. It's close to the border. It's close to the border.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's close enough, and it's a good opportunity. So we are focused on North Carolina, but we're also opportunistic if something should happen.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
So if we got a listener listening here in the North Carolina-ish region, and they're thinking about getting out of the business,
give us a call.
Give you a call for sure.
Yeah, we've done 3 acquisitions, and they were win-win for everybody. They were happy with what they got for their business. We were happy to have it, and sometimes there's a lot of good synergies. We've walked away from some deals that just the culture was different, and it just wasn't a good fit for us. But yeah, we're definitely growing. We're on the move. And
so you mentioned another interesting thing too, and that's the no debt thing. And really, I do Diesel Laptops the same way. We have 0 long-term debt, cash in the bank, and it was a real struggle there for a lot of years. And it's loosened up now that the revenue numbers keep getting bigger. But why do you do that? Because I think a lot of people listen to this like, oh, no big deal. I'll go get a loan from the bank. I'll go do this loan. I'll go do that. Why haven't you?
Well, it's a behavior thing. If you have to write the check or you have to take the money out of the bank, you're going to be a little bit more disciplined on what you spend it on.
Yep.
If I just have to go sign my name, oh, well, how much is that luxury package on that service truck that I don't really need? It'd be cool to have it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I don't really need that. So you get, you're a little bit better with your money. And I think as we grow, we're getting into some real estate. There's debt there.
Yeah, I got the same thing. I have a separate property holding company, and that leases it back to the diesel.
Yeah, so I don't know that we'll always be debt free, but I think when debt makes sense, we'll do it. But starting a business, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm 100% the same way, and I know. I think we were talking before we went on here. Or maybe it was on. You guys went a long time when you first did this before you started taking money out of the company and turning a profit, right? And I was the same way. I quit my job. I was like, all right, we're canceling every luxury at home. I'm sitting here, and we got to go sell X dollars per day to make our living where we're comfortable, right?
So, and were you married?
Yeah, I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom.
So was mine.
So yeah, and she has a college degree. But it's in social work, so she never made any money to begin with.
Wow.
So it was
a lot of very similar.
Yeah. I mean, we were lucky because I was able to, for a longer time than you, able to do my side business and my normal job, and I got paid really well at my normal job. But even then, I ran myself debt free. Like I was in huge credit card debt 15 years ago. I could barely go to the grocery store, and I was like, I'm done with this. Like, let's just figure this out. And people don't equate debt to risk, and it is huge. I've yet to see a successful company. I yet to see a company that has no debt file bankruptcy, right? Like everyone that files bankruptcy has a mountain of debt that they're trying to work through, right? Yeah. So, but like you said, I would still take on debt if it made sense. There was a big initiative or a thing I was very certain, hey, I can go do this thing. Yeah. I wouldn't be afraid of it. It's just a tool I haven't had to go take out the toolbox yet. So it'll come eventually.
And I think some of the acquisitions that we're looking at, in the beginning they were small and we were able to cash pay for them. They're getting bigger, the ones that we're looking at, and there'll be some debt involved with some of those.
So that was the thing that surprised me too as I was growing. I was like, oh man, once we hit a certain size, these things they're going to be no big deal, the dollar amounts. I just didn't realize they start putting more zeros on the end of them. I'm like,
that's funny.
This is a much bigger decision.
I was talking to somebody the other day about that, and it's like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? And we've got a few things going on over here, and I was like, the problems are the same. They're just bigger. Like you said, the zeros are on the end. You're talking more with attorneys and CPAs where you used to be talking with buddies. And I was like, they're like, man, don't you get tired of talking to those attorneys? I was like, man, I can't wait till the time when I got 5 attorneys on staff. We're that big.
I hear, hey, for what it's worth, our VP of HR, he happens to be an attorney. So I'm like, perfect. Smart. Come on in. Like we got work for you to do here. So no, and I even at our size, we're up to about 180 employees, and
that's a lot.
Yeah, and we're still going fast, and it's just your company keeps changing, having to reinvent itself.
Yep.
And that's what gets hard as you scale up. You can't be that guy anymore that's involved in all the shops. You got to put a great person there in charge, and it's really hard to keep making those great people to be able to do that. And that's really one of the keys when you see companies succeed. And I'm sure you can relate as an owner. It is very hard to give up control and be like, you got this, right?
Just ask my leadership team.
Yeah,
they'll tell you.
Yeah.
We got some great people, and they're what's going to help us grow. They're the only thing. I could come up with ideas, but they're the ones that are executing the processes and creating the discipline at the branches that's needed for us to continue to grow.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's been great talking to you.
You too.
It's been again, we both came out of dealership worlds. We both started something, just a little bit different areas, but it's both truck repairs, so it kind of converges back again and everything. So you have a great story. I'm really excited to see where you guys go and how far you guys go and where you can bring this. It sounds like you guys are working through all those things. It's similar stuff we're doing here at Diesel Laptops as well. Yeah. So with all that said, if someone wants to get a hold of your company or get a hold of you, what is it? LinkedIn, phone numbers, email, websites? What do you want
the main website for National Fleet Management is nationalfleetmanagementmgt.com. Heavy Duty Truck Supply is heavydutitrucksupply.com. And then I've never done a Facebook, believe it or not. I never. When I was at the dealership, Facebook came out and everybody was doing it, and I was too busy working, and I'm like, watching people. I was like, man, it just takes too much time. So I do have a LinkedIn page. I'm on LinkedIn. I have a Instagram and a Twitter, but I haven't touched those in probably 3 years.
I'm still trying to figure those platforms out. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But a lot of the younger audience is there. So I gotta go where our future audience is.
I don't understand how somebody puts some videos out there and then all of a sudden they got millions of people following them. I mean, it's great. It's awesome, but I just.
That's all my kids want to do now is be YouTubers, right? Every time, like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I want to work at Diesel Laptops. I'm like, you're not working at Diesel Laptops. You need to figure out your own thing. So,
that's funny.
But awesome, great to have you on here and everything.
Thanks for having me.
I'm sure we're all gonna be following your journey. We're definitely cheerleaders over here at Diesel Laptops for everything you have going on. So thank you for taking time to come in. I know you had to drive here. It's been great. And as we sign every episode, it's just not diagnostics. It's diagnostics done right. And I'm sure National Fleet would be more than happy to help you as well. So
That's right.
Thank you for watching and listening.